Y'all know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Today's topic is how to live how you want to live. How do you live the type of life you want to live? And when I say the type of life you want to live, I'm not talking material possessions like houses and cars and money and clothes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about living the life you want to live through your mind. Because once you become the type of person you want to be in your mind, all that other stuff just comes with it. Whether that's how much money you make, if you want to drive a nice fancy car, you want to have a certain number of pair of sneakers, all of that stuff comes with it. But first, you got to become the type of person that you want to become. And that starts with the way that you think. Becoming is part of thinking. Being is the way you're thinking. It's not what you're wearing. It's not where you're at. It's not who you're hanging with. It's the way that you think. So understand what I'm going to give you here in this video is how to become the type of person you want to become. Therefore, the life you want has no choice but to happen. Everybody understand that. And if you violate becoming the type of person you want to become, then that's the exact reason why you don't have the life that you want. So you don't ever have to wonder why you don't have it, because I just told you why. Here's point number one. Anytime you do something that makes you feel good, or you make a move in life that other people don't understand, or you make a decision that someone else disagrees with, or you do something that somebody else says, well, I wouldn't have did it that way. Understand this. Something that makes you feel good, that makes you feel fulfilled, something that makes you feel happy. You feel like, you know what, this is a step that I want to take in my life right now based on what I know and what I've decided to do with myself. That is a good enough reason. I'm going to repeat myself on that. You doing what you want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to do it, with whom, why you want to do it. Whether you need to explain it to anybody or not, most of the time you don't. We all do a little bit too much explaining to people who we don't owe explanations to. A good enough reason is it makes me happy. Good enough reason is this is what I want to do. Good enough reason is this is my money, this is how I want to spend it. A good enough reason is this is the decision I made and you don't have to agree with it. That's a good enough reason. And you need to come to grips with that. That's not about you being defiant or arguing with other people or putting your foot down or standing up for yourself. Yes, all of those are a part of it, but that's not really what it's about. What it's about is you coming to grips with the fact that you doing what you want to do is a good enough reason for you to do it. And once you are cool with that, once you completely understand that, it doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But first, you got to be cool with it. Because if you're not cool with saying, you know what, I want to move here, I want to drive this car, I want to date this person, I want to quit this job, that's a good enough reason to do it. Okay, that's the first thing. You got to come to terms with me wanting it is a good enough reason. Point number two, you need to get comfortable with once you do start becoming this person. As you start becoming the person you always wanted to be, living the way you want to live, letting your inhibitions go, letting go of your supposed tos and your shoulds of how your life is supposed to be, instead of just doing what you want to do. Once you get that step number one clear and you start acting on it, you need to get very comfortable with other people having something to say about what you're doing. Because there are going to be a lot of people who have something to say, especially if you're the type of person who isn't already on this track that I'm explaining. If you've never even considered it this way, if this is new information to you, if this is a new perspective to you, that means when you start following point number one, saying that this is a good enough reason and that's why I'm going to do it, understand that you're going to go through a whole lot of changes. There are going to be some changes in your life, and those changes are going to include people. They're going to include your activities. It'll include your language. You'll start talking different. You'll be thinking a whole lot different. You'll feel a lot different. Maybe your body will change. Maybe your wardrobe will change. Maybe your job will change. Maybe your income will change. Things are going to change. The environments you hang in, all of those things are going to change. Your friends, who your friends are, that may change. Maybe those people may change around you because they see you changing. They may start to make some changes that may be taking you to in divergent paths. But understand, you need to get comfortable. Once you start being who you want to be, get comfortable with other people having something to say. Somebody saying, I don't agree with that, or I don't know why you're doing that, or this is a side of you I've never seen before, or you never did that before, and you should be like, damn right, you're absolutely right. All of that's absolutely true. And there's a reason why you never seen it before, because I wasn't being who I wanted to be before. I am now. You understand that? So point number two is get comfortable with people having something to say. There's always going to be people who have something to say when you're doing something other than what they're doing, or they see you doing what they wish they could do, but their subconscious mind was buried in their subconscious, in their souls, won't allow them to be the person that they want to be. All you need to do is send them this video, or send them to the Work on Your Game podcast, where I've covered this in even more detail than what you're seeing in this video. Here's point number three. So we got point number one. A good enough reason is this is the life that you want. I want this in my life. That's a good enough reason for me to do it. I ain't got to explain it to you. Point number two, get comfortable with people having something to say. Because when you're doing what you want, people are going to have something to say. Because most people, if you never thought about it, Most people go their entire lives never doing what they want to do. They spend their entire lives doing what they're told to do. Everybody follow that. And point number 3. Here's point number 3. Always remember, as you're going through this transformation that you're going to be going through, as you're dealing with people having something to say about you, and it may be a little bit uncomfortable for you, understand that in the end, and that's the end of the day, the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, end of your life, the only responsibility you truly have is a responsibility to yourself. The only responsibility you truly have is your responsibility to yourself. Meaning, if you spend your entire life being responsible for other people, making sure somebody else is happy, making sure they got what they need, making sure he's good over here, making sure she's happy over there, but you never take responsibility for making sure you're good and you're happy, what life did you live? Were you successful? Is that a successful life? That you took care of all these other people, but you never took care of yourself? I would say no. I would say that's a life of failure, because you never took care of yourself. You spent so much time focusing on other people who were also focused on themselves. So if you're focusing so much time on this person over here and they're focused on themselves too, then that's what? That's 2 people focused on him and 0 people focused on you. I think that's a formula for failing, if you ask me. So understand that in life, your only true responsibility is to yourself. Now, yes, if you have kids, you're responsible for them technically till age, I don't know, 16, 18, depending on the state that you're in. I get that part. But other than that, you're responsible for you. Your kid, you're not going to be responsible for them for their entire lives. Once they get to a certain age, listen, you need to start taking care of yourself, because you got to take care of you. Even when you have kids, I don't care if you got 10 kids. If you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your sons and your daughters? It's impossible. How can you provide for them? You can't even provide for you. So make sure you take care of yourself, because your number 1 priority, your number 1 responsibility in life always is to you. Recapping these 3 points. Number 1, a good enough reason is because it's because you want it. It's because this is who you want to be. It's because this is where you want to go. That's a good enough reason. Point number 2, get comfortable once you start doing things because you want to do them. People are going to have some stuff to say. People are going to say things, maybe behind your back, maybe right to your face. Get comfortable with people having something to say. Doesn't mean you can't respond. Doesn't mean you can't reply to it if you want to. But get comfortable with it happening. And point number 3, remember that your number 1 responsibility and your number 100 responsibility always, anywhere you go, no matter who you are, is to you. Not to anyone else, not to him, not to her, not to them over there. Your number 1 responsibility is to you. Until that's taken care of, you can't deal with anybody else. Everyone. My podcast is called Work on Your Game. Every single day, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. You want to hear me talk on a topic like this in even more detail and more every single day, subscribe to my podcast. Don't be dumb. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.